You are watching No Filter with Debbie. These are my views and opinions. Welcome to No Filter with Debbie. I'm Debbie Schlossel. And you know what's driving me crazy? What's driving me crazy is two things, actually. Are two things. Number one is that Michael Che gets away with his latest instance of anti Semitic bigotry from the left, from the far left, on Saturday Night Live. And I am locked out of Twitter. Yes, I'm locked out of my Twitter account for the zillionth time for calling this out and calling people bigots who send me bigoted hate mail. All right, that's the summary. Let's go into this. Michael Che. His real name is Michael Che Campbell. Yes, the Che, he was named after the left wing activist Che Guevara. And yes, he goes by Michael Che as his stage name. He is a far leftist. He's also a racist. He has referred to white people on Saturday Night Live as crackers. He's made other racist comments, which, by the way, are not jokes. They're not comedy. If you say something that's funny, yes, fine, it's comedy. He disguises commentary as comedy because he utters it on a fake newscast from which a lot of morons across America get their news. That's right, they do. And not only does he get to utter it and pretend it's comedy just by uttering commentary on this fake newscast, but this show is not even funny. SNL hasn't been funny not only in years, but in decades. It is horrible. But I happened to have it on while I was doing something else on Saturday night, and I heard this joke. So watch this.
Israel is reporting that they vaccinated half of their population. And I'm going to guess it's the Jewish half.
Ha 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 ha. You know what? That's baloney. That wasn't a joke. How was that funny? And it's not true. Let me just tell you something. Israel treats its Arab Muslim population better than most countries, including Arab Muslim countries. And not only that, but it treats them far better than Jews, the few remaining Jews that there are in any of the Arab Muslim countries. Most of them were chased out. They were murdered, their daughters were raped, had their property taken from them, they were forced to walk on the streets in rope sandals. Yes, that's what they do. They tax them extra for not being Muslims. They do that too. And they otherwise chase them out of their homes in many Arab Muslim nations around Asia, Africa, and the Middle East. And then some of those Jews returned to Israel. Guess what? There were always Jews in Israel for hundreds and thousands of years. It's not just that all of these Jews came to Israel and took over someone else's land. It was their land. Jews own this land. There were Jews there. There are historical records. The late Mark Twain went to visit what was then called Palestine in the late 1800s. And you know what he said he saw there? He said he saw a lot of Jews in Jerusalem and he saw a few wandering nomadic Arabs in other places, and that was it. Yes, they were wandering. This was not their land. It was Jewish land. It always has been. It always will be. And it is a lie from the Palestinians where they say that Jews from Europe took it over or took it from them. Most of them are not from there. Many of these so called Palestinians are from other Arab Muslim nations like Jordan. And by the way, in Jordan, the majority of the population is Palestinian, and yet they are ruled by the Hashemites. Yes, King Abdullah of Jordan is a Hashemite from the Saudi Arabian royal family. They don't have a problem with that. Nobody's saying it's occupied Jordan. And you know what happens over there when they rise up? They are slaughtered. Look up Black September. Black September was when King Hussein, the previous king of Jordan, smote 10,000 Palestinians. It was very bloody. He killed them. Nobody cared. There was no world uproar. There's only an uproar when it involves Jews and it involves Israel. And Michael Che is part of that group of people that only seem to hate the Jews when it comes to the Middle East. So this isn't his first foray into this. It's not just that he's called white people crackers, that he's made racist comments. It's also that he's made anti Semitic, bigoted comments. For example, last year on Weekend Update, which he is of which he's the co-anchor and co-writer, people tell me he didn't write his jokes, he just reads them. Yes, he wrote them. He writes this. Michael Che, and by the way, he's in very few comedy skits on SNL because he's in this plum position where he gets to just sit there, read a few lines for 5 minutes every weekend, and not even every weekend, every few weekends, and he's making a lot of money, millions of dollars. So Michael Che reads this, and back last year, he said that there was a Miss Hitler beauty pageant, and he said it was won by Miss Israel. You get the point. Ha ha ha, so funny. Basically, what he's saying is that the Israelis, the Jews, are Nazis. This guy is not a comedian. He's a political ranter and commenter who is anti Semitic, who is anti white, he's a racist, he's a bigot, and he belongs on MSNBC, not on a comedy show. This is why SNL is not comedy. This is the same thing that has afflicted Jimmy Kimmel for the last 10 or so years. He also used to be a funny comedian, but then he became a political activist ranter from the left, which is what Michael Che is. So he made that video. I called it out on Twitter. My tweet, you're going to take a look at it there. I said that, in fact, Israel vaccinated 43% of the Arab population. And by the way, I need to update that. That is from a Christian Science Monitor article. And that is from January 15th, so more than a month ago. And that was when Israel was only vaccinating its senior citizen population, and 43% of the senior citizens had been vaccinated to that point. Of the Arab citizens had been vaccinated up to that point. But since then, more than half the Israeli population has been vaccinated, including more than half of its Arab Muslim population. So he's full of crap. He's completely wrong, and he doesn't care. He does not care. He wants to vilify the Jews. This is what's known as a blood libel. Now, I know that there are very few Jews in North Dakota. There are only 400 Jewish families, 400 Jews, period, and something like 40 or 30 Jewish families, most of them living in Fargo. There are 3 Jews living in Bismarck, and I met one of them when I visited last January. But there's a very small population in North Dakota. But why would you care? Because Israel is our most reliable ally in the Middle East. It's one of our best friends in the world. Israel gives us technology that's way beyond the value of what they get from us. Israel is a reliable ally of the United States. Israel believes in energy that does not come from terrorists like the Islamic nations, energy that comes from places like North Dakota. Israel has developed a lot of top farming techniques that have helped North Dakota, and the list goes on. And you know what? First, they come for the Saturday people, and then the Sunday people. And Michael Che does not like either of them. He makes fun of Christians too and mocks them. All right? So, because I put up that tweet, I got thousands yesterday, thousands of hateful, anti Semitic, bigoted tweets. And I responded to a few of them. And one of them, the person said he's not an anti Semitic bigot. And I said he was. So look at that. There is nothing wrong with that tweet, but I got locked out of my Twitter account, allegedly for abuse and harassment. Because I said, no, it wasn't funny. It was a litmus test. If you thought his line commentary parading as a joke was funny, you're an anti Semitic bigot. Thanks for letting us know. So apparently, this is abuse and harassment of someone, and it incites violence. And I'm apparently hoping and wishing somebody experiences physical harm because I said that. This is what goes on in Twitter. Twitter does not like anybody right of center, anybody even in the center. And if you say the wrong things, you have to walk on eggshells, tiptoe on eggshells. And if you say the wrong things according to them, which you have no idea what those things are, you will get kicked off. Now, I'm locked out of my account now because I've appealed. They said I could take down my tweets. There were 7 of them they said were offensive, and most of the 7 were like that. A couple of the 7, I called the people morons because they said a lot worse to me. Now, nothing happened to them. Now, I was called a dummy and stupid, and the F word was directed at me by a porn star. And when I responded that she was the most used piece of equipment in the gym, I got kicked off Twitter permanently in my previous account. Nothing happened to her for calling me stupid and a dummy, but I apparently can't call people a moron because apparently that's different. Why? Because I'm Jewish, because I'm a conservative, because I'm right wing, because I defend Israel. That's exactly why. They have a double set of standards. They have double standards, and they don't apply their rules, that they won't tell you what the rules are equally. That's what goes on there, and it's driving me crazy. That plus the wanton racism and bigotry that goes on Saturday Night Live. If you're Christian, if you're Jewish, if you're pro-Israel, if you're conservative, if you live in middle America like North Dakota, they make fun of you. Everybody else, them on the left coast and the right coast, the left-wing elites, they're off limits. And also Islam, too. When was the last time you saw them make fun of Muslims? All right, when we come back, Ted Cruz is still under attack, and it's just getting way absurd and far over the top. And also, North Dakota does something with masks that I applaud. We'll tell you what it is. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your number one choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality. Did you know the Foundation for Rural Service awards scholarships for rural students? The scholarships range from $2,500 to $7,000. Go to www.frs.org for information and applications.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county.
Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
There's nothing more important than family. And at Prairie Rose Family Dentists, we get it. That's why we have more locations, more dentists, specialists, extended hours, pediatric clinics, and even emergency appointments, so you can always be seen. Book your appointment today at prairierosedentist.com. Prairie Rose Family Dentists. We are family.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Pub 21, your one stop for fun, drinks, and food. Our spacious facility provides COVID-safe fun for you and all your friends. With nightly bingo and specials, you can be sure there's something to do for everyone. If you're staying in for the night, we've got you covered just across the way with Pub 21 Liquor. We have a wide variety of options, from wine to whiskey and everything in between. Stop in today at 1014 South 12th Street in Bismarck to see what all the buzz is about. You won't be disappointed.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So over the weekend, I want to ask you a question and think to yourself, how many stories did you see about Ted Cruz going to Cancun and coming back? And how many stories did you see about Governor Andrew Cuomo of New York covering up COVID deaths in nursing homes. I'll bet you the number of stories you saw about Ted Cruz way outnumbered Andrew Cuomo's stories, way outnumbered. And we talked about this last week on Friday and also on Thursday's show. It's really getting ridiculous. It's beyond ridiculous. It's well past that point. It's absurd the way they're going after him. Move on already. I mean, listen, as we have said on this show, it's a bad look when the people in your state are freezing and without power. But guess what? Power is returning now. Now the problem is water. It's warming up there too. The problem is water and plumbing. People, I heard from somebody in Texas, she can't get a plumber for a month and she has no water in her house. She's got an ailing husband and an ailing grandchild. That's a tough situation. And what can a U.S. Senator do about it? Probably nothing. But it looks bad, and we all know that if this were Joe Biden or Barack Obama, we'd be talking about it, and we should be. Because even though there's nothing these people can do about it, maybe they can do a little something by calling people and yelling and screaming. I don't know how much that will help. But if Joe Biden or Barack Obama did this, I'd be after them. So would you. But I just think it's gone too far. They went to Cancun. Their daughters went there, and now we've seen pictures this weekend of the daughters soaking up the sun with the wife. They're not allowed to do that. They're not even the elected officials. There should be nothing wrong with that. Ted Cruz didn't support any kinds of quarantines. He didn't do any of this stuff. Now, we showed you last week Governor Pritzker of Illinois. He's the one that supported quarantines and lockdowns. He's the one who should have been shamed because his wife did not abide by them. But Ted Cruz really shouldn't be shamed all that much. He and his daughters are not going to be able to fix the Southwest Power Pool electrical grid. They're also not going to be able to unfreeze the wind turbines. And he works with his cell phone and a laptop. You can work from anywhere. We told you about a judge. This was, I think, on Thursday's show. There was a judge in Canada who's under fire because he heard cases while on vacation in the Caribbean. Why? Why is that a problem? Being in the office, nobody's in the office. They're at home doing Zoom. So what's the difference if you do Zoom from Canada or the Caribbean? What's the difference if you do Zoom from Cancun or from Texas? But if you're a U.S. Senator, it looks bad. And especially if you're a conservative Republican, you know the media is going to go after you much harder than they went after Andrew Cuomo, who's a serial killer and who lied and committed fraud to the federal government and everybody else in his own state by fudging the numbers and killing people, throwing people who were sick into nursing homes to kill everybody else, or throwing perfectly healthy people into nursing homes to die at the hands of sick people. That's what he did. And he lied about the numbers by as much as half, maybe even more. But all we hear about is Ted Cruz. So his daughters are in this private school, and this school is now upset. So the name of the school is St. John's School. And apparently they have a rule that students who travel internationally must quarantine for 7 to 10 days upon their return. But the 7 to 10 days is not being abided by a lot of other people. There were kids who went on spring break in January, and there were 11th and 12th graders who had to quarantine because students attended holiday parties that led to multiple positive COVID infections. But some of the students did not do the quarantine, and there is a divide. So this school is now speaking out against Ted Cruz's daughters. They're going after his children. Now, we were always told you can't go after Chelsea Clinton. You can't go after the Obama kids. The Democrat kids are off limits. Why is that? And why are Ted Cruz's daughters being shown tan shaming, I guess is what you would call it, since they were soaking up the sun in Cancun? And why are they now being quarantine shaming? I mean, this is ridiculous. There are people camped out on his front lawn with resign signs, yelling and screaming, resign. Are they doing that to Governor Cuomo? No. Does the left do this to any of their own? No. They only do this to Republicans. They go to restaurants and make it so they can't eat there. They shout them down everywhere else. You saw the videos we showed you on the show with Maxine Waters telling people to, if you see somebody at the gas station, bother them and harass them. If you see them at a restaurant, harass them. That's what they're doing. And I think it's got to stop. There's one thing about peaceful protest. That's great. That's protected by the First Amendment. But when it comes to harassing people nonstop, that goes beyond the pale. That's not legitimate protest. It's not legitimate criticism. It's not legitimate First Amendment behavior. It's got to stop, and it won't. Because that's the way the left rolls. They are going to ruin everything for you. They're going to harass you if you're a politician on the right. And Ted Cruz is not that far right. Remember, he wanted to close Gitmo. He wanted to stop torture of terrorists. He's not on the right on a lot of things. He agrees with AOC on things. So he's not so far right. He just gets portrayed that way because anybody that has a R after their name is an extremist and needs to be not only canceled, but shut down and their whole life destroyed and harassed every single moment. All right, when we come back, North Dakota is doing something on masks that I like, and we want to show you what masks are actually not doing. We've showed you some of this before. Now we have more. And the Fauci effect in North Dakota, that and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
In southwestern and south central North Dakota, on any given day at any given moment, a Dakota Community Bank and Trust customer is logging in or signing on to do their online or mobile banking. We believe that community banking can blend both the past with down-home customer service in-house and the future with modern banking conveniences and technology for our customers anywhere, like here or here, all while honoring our long-standing tradition of community-first oriented banking here at Dakota Community Bank and Trust.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Beck Communications is hiring. Beck Communications is seeking qualified candidates for plant technicians in our Wheatland, North Dakota location. Beck Communications is an equal opportunity employer. To view the job details, visit www.beck.coop. To apply, email your cover letter and resume to careers@bechtel.coop. Beck Communications, making connections that matter.
If you're a Beck Fiber customer or the dependent of a Beck Fiber customer, you might qualify for scholarships. Beck awards scholarships to seniors headed to college or to students attending University of Mary. Go to www.beck.coop for eligibility guidelines and applications.
The experienced professionals at Superior Glass provide residential and commercial glass installation and repair services in central and western North Dakota. Superior Glass is your source for stained glass projects, mirrors, windows, touchless, and automated entry solutions. Stop by and see us at 3323 East Broadway in Bismarck or call us at 701-258-5600. Superior Glass, where you get superior service for less. Bye for now.
Did you know the Foundation for Rural Service awards scholarships for rural students? The scholarships range from $2,500 to $7,000. Go to www.frs.org for information and applications.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So, something really good happened today, and it's about masks, and it takes place in the North Dakota House, and that's this. There was a bill before the North Dakota House to outlaw mask mandates in North Dakota. So, the governor could never mandate masks again, nor could any of the localities, I believe, under this law. I don't know the niceties of it, but I do believe that a place like West Fargo, for instance, that has a mask mandate, or Minot, they could not have mask mandates, nor could the governor. And this bill passed the North Dakota House, but only by 2 votes, which is interesting because North Dakota, I don't know if everybody voted, and I couldn't get a breakdown of the vote by looking online. But North Dakota has 80 Republicans and only 14 Democrats in the North Dakota House. But this passed by only 2 votes. So that means a lot of Republicans voted against banning the mask mandates. And I wonder why. Now, I actually don't wonder that much because I do think that maybe they think that there may come a time where masks actually are proven to work. And maybe there is some other health epidemic, some other pandemic, like what we're experiencing now, where masks actually do work. This isn't one of them. We know that masks don't work. We've showed you so many graphs over the past several months of states with no mask mandates, like South Dakota, like Florida, and how North Dakota actually had more COVID cases per 100,000, or per million too. And how North Dakota had more deaths, or about the same amount. So it tracked the same, and the mask mandate didn't really do anything. Sure, the governor is going to say that he saved North Dakota and that the mask did something, but the fact is, if you look, when he instituted the mask mandate, the curve was already dropping. And so he didn't really do anything with that. And again, it tracked North Dakota, whose curve was dropping also. It had broken. The number of cases had broken and had decreased, which means that maybe there was some sort of herd immunity happening. And by the way, this was before any of the vaccines had been administered in any significant numbers to make a difference. This was all about natural herd immunity. A lot of people probably already had COVID and didn't know and were immune and have antibodies. I believe I have that. I actually believe I caught it from people in North Dakota who came to visit me, who got it from people from China who came to visit them. So the masks don't necessarily work, but they don't work. The anti-mask mandates, the bill to stop the mask mandates, has passed the House by just 2 votes, very slim margin. We'll see what the North Dakota Senate does. And then there's always the governor. He can veto this. So we will be watching this and we will update you on it. Now, to my point that masks don't work, I want you to see 2 graphs. All right, so first there's this graph from the Super Bowl. Remember, everybody was yelling and screaming, saying, oh my God, people are going to party maskless after the Super Bowl. We know it. And when they do, it's going to cause the spread of COVID. And then when they did do that, they said, oh my God, people were celebrating and they were maskless. And now in 2 weeks, we'll see COVID. Well, today is the 22nd. The Super Bowl happened on February 7th. So this is more than 2 weeks. It's 15 days, if my math is correct. Look at that. The numbers keep falling. Hillsborough County, Florida did not experience an increase in cases. The number went down. The number of new cases per million, down. So masks don't do anything. These people didn't have them. The cases keep going down. All right, so there's that. Now, there was a very big UNC, University of North Carolina, game against Duke. That was February 6th, basketball game, NCAA. So they said the same thing. Oh my God, February 6th. So that was the day before the Super Bowl. People are going to celebrate maskless, and there are going to be a ton of new cases. And they did celebrate maskless, and there was more outrage. People celebrated maskless. We're going to see so many cases. It's a super spreader. Guess what? Look at that graph. The cases have gone down. Today's the 22nd. It's been 16 days. well more than 2 weeks, cases have gone down. Again, they were maskless. You know what that means? You don't need a mask, and the masks don't do anything. Nothing. They just don't work. They just make things worse. All right, now, I told you at the beginning of this show, or in the second segment, I asked you, how many stories did you see on Governor Cuomo fudging the numbers, lying to the feds, lying to the people of New York, being a serial killer at nursing homes, sending people to die of COVID, making more people die of COVID who are in their midst? I asked you, how many stories did you see about that versus how many Ted Cruz stories? And I don't even need you to answer. We know the answer. You saw a ton of Ted Cruz stories, very few, if any, about Cuomo. If you did see stories about Cuomo, it was like on very limited number of newscasts and news sources, a handful. Check out this interview with Jen Psaki and John Carroll on This Week with George Stephanopoulos.
Okay, I want to turn to another controversy that raged this week. Andrew Cuomo under fire for allegedly not being transparent and misleading on the number of nursing home deaths in New York. Last spring, President Biden cited Andrew Cuomo as the gold standard for leadership during the pandemic. Take a listen.
Your governor of New York's done one hell of a job. I think he's sort of the gold standard.
So now we've seen that Governor Cuomo has allegedly undercounted nursing home deaths, misled legislators in New York, and he called New York Assemblyman Ron Kim, raising questions, basically threatening to destroy him, I think was his actual words. So does President Biden still consider Andrew Cuomo the gold standard when it comes to leadership on the pandemic?
Well, John, we work with Governor Cuomo just like we work with governors across the country. He's also chair of the NGA. So he plays an important role in ensuring that we're coordinating closely and getting assistance out to people of his state and to states across the country. And we'll continue to do that. And there, of course, will be a process. The investigations, will leave that to others to determine, the appropriate law enforcement authorities to determine how that path is going to move as we look forward. But we are going to continue to work with a range of governors, including, of course, Governor Cuomo, because we think the people of New York, the people of states across the country need assistance, not just to get through the pandemic, but to get through this difficult economic time. And that's where our focus remains.
All right, but Jen, my question was, does President Biden still believe that Andrew Cuomo is the gold standard, represents the gold standard on leadership during this pandemic? Just a yes or no. Does he
well,
still
John, the president, well, it doesn't always have to be a yes or no answer, John. I think the president.
All right, so you saw that. She did not answer the question. I grew up in Detroit, and I know what a Dodge is, and that's a Dodge. She did not answer the question. And Joe Biden said that he was the gold standard of leadership during the pandemic, as John Carroll pointed out. Why can't they condemn him? Do they not think it's a problem that a governor murders his own people? He mass kills them. He's a serial killer, sends them into nursing homes to die, and to kill others, and then lies by half or more about the number of deaths, not only to state legislators, as John Kim pointed out, and to the people of the state of New York, but to the federal government. If Joe Biden really cared about honesty and decency and respecting people like he claims he did, and unifying the country, he would call for Andrew Cuomo to resign. But he won't, because he's a chicken. He's afraid of Cuomo. He's afraid of both the Cuomo brothers. He doesn't want to get criticized on CNN by Fredo Cuomo, the other Cuomo brother, Chris. They have no principles there. All right, when we come back, we will discuss the Fauci effect and what that is in North Dakota. And also, is math racist? Yes, it is, according to Bill and Melinda Gates. We'll tell you why. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Howdy, folks. It's a Caroline Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our hay-busting breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at our salad bar. Sink your teeth into our famous Caroline burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spoon-rattling pie with a calm roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the gang. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the county line.
Since opening in Hebron in 1940, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your hometown bank. Our mission has been to provide modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. We've grown with the communities we serve through year-round events, countless sponsorships, and nearly 7,000 hours of volunteering each year. Learn more about our 80-year history at dakotacommunitybank.com.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your number one choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
Did you know the Foundation for Rural Service awards scholarships for rural students? The scholarships range from $2,500 to $7,000. Go to www.frs.org for information and applications. If you're a Beck Fiber customer or the dependent of a Beck Fiber customer, you might qualify for scholarships. Beck awards scholarships to seniors headed to college or to students attending University of Mary. Go to www.beck.co for eligibility guidelines and applications.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So before the break, we were telling you about some of the COVID stuff and what baloney it is. But there are other things that are just hype, all right? So there's something called the Fauci effect, and I want to tell you what that is. Apparently, yes, it's named after Anthony Fauci. Apparently, there is this claim that a lot of kids today, or younger people, college students, and so on, that they idolize Dr. Anthony Fauci, and because of him, they want to become doctors, and they're applying to medical school in much higher numbers than normal, and it's called the Fauci effect. Now, here's why I think it's a lot of hype, and I don't necessarily buy into it. I think maybe there are a lot of people who want to become doctors because they see the epidemic, the pandemic, and they want to treat people and help in situations like this. That doesn't mean that they're inspired by Dr. Anthony Fauci. I would like to see the numbers on that. Now, the liberal local media in North Dakota are reporting that the Fauci effect takes place in North Dakota too. Maybe it has nothing to do with Anthony Fauci. Maybe some of it is because of Fauci, but maybe the vast majority of it is because younger people say, hey, I saw somebody die from COVID, I saw somebody sick from COVID, or I don't think COVID is what they're saying. They're treating people with a one-size-fits-all plan. I think it should be different. I would like to go to medical school to research this. Maybe that could be the reason. We don't know what the reason is. Yes, it's probably pandemic-inspired, but does that mean it's Anthony Fauci-inspired? Heck no. Doesn't mean that at all. There are a lot of people who don't like Anthony Fauci. They're tired of his fame whoring. So in North Dakota, the University of North Dakota medical program has reported almost a 50% increase in applicants. Last year, they got, or the previous year, they got 1,450 applications for spots in the medical school. And the latest year for next fall, they got 2,000 applications. That's almost a 50% increase. And we don't know what the reason is. Nobody's done any polls to say, hey, you're one of the extra 600 or so, less than 600, 550 applicants. You're one of the extra 550 applicants. Why did you apply to medical school? They haven't surveyed all 2,000 people to find out why they applied. And they don't know which ones are the extra ones and which ones were going to apply to medical school anyway and have been dreaming about it since they were 3 or 4. You know what I'm saying? Nobody knows. Don't believe the hype. Some people like to glom on to the latest fad, the latest trend. And the latest fad and the latest trend is that Anthony Fauci is responsible for everything good, that he's all powerful, that he inspires kids to go to medical school. Maybe it's just because of the pandemic. Maybe it has nothing to do with him or very little to do with him. We don't know. Fauci effect is a theory. It's not a proven fact. But anyway, North Dakota may have a lot more doctors to choose from, and the pool of those admitted to the University of North Dakota medical program is larger. That means it's more competitive. That means that even a higher caliber candidate than normal, and it's already very tough to get into medical school, will get in and become doctors. And we hope they stay in North Dakota when they graduate. We need doctors. Everybody does. Hopefully, Obamacare won't still be around by the time you get out of medical school, but unfortunately, I wouldn't count it out. The Republicans didn't get rid of it, and Joe Biden and Kamala aren't going to either. All right, so there's that. Now, race in America. People like to find racism everywhere, even where there isn't any. And apparently now, math problems are racist. Yes, they're racist. Bill and Melinda Gates and their foundation are funding programs that say that math is racist. Now, how is it racist? Well, apparently, students are asked to show their work and find the right answer. So, if you find the right answer, plus you show your work and how you got to the number, and you're not just cheating and copying off of your friend, or you didn't just guess the right answer but do it the wrong way, that's racist. Now, how is that racist? I have no idea. But apparently, everything that it has to do with any kinds of academic standards or sense of achievement, any standards, any achievement whatsoever, is racist. We can't have that. Everything's all about the evil white man, including math problems, and it gets ridiculous. And I think we have some graphs about this. Yeah, so this is a tweet. Oregon's education department is promoting a training program, which, by the way, is funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, that will offer a toolkit to help teachers develop an anti-racist math practice. According to the toolkit, white supremacy culture shows up in math classrooms when addressing mistakes. Yeah, so if you make a mistake in the math problem and the teacher corrects you, that's racism. This is getting ridiculous. And I think that's it. Do we have another graph? I can't remember. I think that's it. All right, so that's it. Math is racist. Got that? Now, guess what else is racist? Skiing. And it's not just racist because snow is white. I can't help that snow is white. If you want to dye yours black, go ahead. But here's why else skiing is racist. Watch this.
Cortina may be one of only a handful of places to host the Alpine World Championships, but it's similar to every resort in Europe and across North America in one respect: the fact that almost everyone in these beautiful places is white. That is certainly the case here in Largs, and has been at all of the places that I've been fortunate enough to visit through competition and now work.
When you're in the majority, you fit in. So why would you question it? It's only by looking at this through a different lens you start to realise that these environments perhaps aren't as equal, as accessible, or as welcoming as we'd like to think.
Oh my god, when you're in the majority, you are racist. So don't ski because you are racist, because it's not as accessible to other people. You know what? I don't ski, alright? Maybe that's because I'm an anti-racist. I mean, no, it's just ridiculous. There are black people who ski, there are white people who ski, there are people of both races who don't ski. It has nothing to do about when you were in the majority. This is absurd. And that video, by the way, is from BBC, the British Broadcasting Company. Coming soon to a local TV station near you. Because when you're in the majority, you're a racist. And anything you do is racism. And your snow is racist. This is absurd. All right, when we come back, not only is skiing racist, not only are math problems racist, but guess what? Muppets are racist and Coca-Cola employees are racist. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
There's nothing more important than family. And at Prairie Rose Family Dentists, we get it. That's why we have more locations, more dentists, specialists, extended hours, pediatric clinics, and even emergency appointments, so you can always be seen. Book your appointment today at prairierosedentist.com. Prairie Rose Family Dentists. We are family.
Deciding how to promote your business can be hard. Visit the professionals at Dakota Promotions and Printing and let them help you through your struggle. Dakota Promotions provides promotional items and apparel, from corporate gifts to team shirts and everything in between. With quick turnaround times and friendly service, they are your best choice. And best yet, you're shopping local. Visit them online at dakotapromo.com or stop in their showroom at 320 West Main in Mandan. Dakota Promotions, delivering promotions just for you.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county. Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Now is the best time to plan for your 2021 farm equipment needs. North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing is currently offering early order savings. Take advantage of big savings on North America's broadest tillage line, including the Super Coulter Samurai and the innovative VRT Renegade, as well as the best built, best backed land rollers in the industry. Talk to your Summers dealer today or go to summersmfg.com to learn more about early order savings available on all Summers equipment.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So before the break, we told you that skiing is racist, and so are math problems. Well, guess what else is racist? Muppets. Muppets are racist. They're bigoted. They maybe are homophobes and against LGBTQI, ABCDEFG. And that's why Disney Plus TV which now has the Muppets shows and has acquired the rights to all the reruns, now has a disclaimer before each Muppet show. And the reason you need this disclaimer, this is the disclaimer. This program includes negative depictions and or mistreatment of people or cultures. These stereotypes were wrong then and are wrong now. Rather than remove this content, we want to acknowledge its harmful impact, learn from it, and spark conversation to create a more inclusive future together. And then there's more about Disney and their commitment to diversity. This is absurd. All right, do you really need to be babysat by Disney? Do you need Disney to put up a warning for you because your fragile heart and soul can't take watching a Muppets rerun? Apparently you do, because not only did Disney do that, but remember months ago we told you about how Gone with the Wind has been withdrawn from the market. And in order to be put back on the market, they had to put a disclaimer on that, as if nobody knows what happened before the Civil War and at the time of the Civil War, and nobody knows that there was slavery in the South. You need to be protected. You need to be coddled. You need to be forewarned because you're soft and fragile and a snowflake. That's what this is about. It's gone way too far. It went way too far more than a decade ago. This is just so way over the top. So there's that. And then there is Hunter Ashley Shackelford, who goes by Ashley Shackelford. First, I want you to take a look at this video. She is a practicer and a lecturer on critical race theory, which goes like this. If you're white, you're racist, and if you deny you're racist, you're even more of a racist. So watch.
All white people are racist. So I put this up because I really want any white person in the room to know up front that this is what we're dealing with, that it's not going to be this coddling of white tears and what that looks like. We're not going to discuss, oh, maybe some of us have worked it out. No, you're always going to be racist, actually. So even when you're on your path to trying to figure out how to be a better human being, because I believe that white people are born into not being human, like that actually, instead of people of color and black folks being dehumanized, that actually everyone is dehumanized off rip within white supremacy, that y'all are born into a life to not be human, and that's what y'all are taught to do, to be demons. So in this particular way, white people are all racist. So I just want y'all.
White people are all racist demons. Oh, and PayPal me. Did you see that was on there? So apparently she could eat more cookies or ice cream or pizza or whatever she's eating, because all white people are racist, inhuman demons, according to her. And if that's true, that would be like me saying all black people are giant fat tubs of lard who can't stop eating. By the way, her weight, apparently, she has built that into a business too. Not only is she a lecturer in critical race theory, and you saw all of those tweets from various black admirers about how everything she was saying was great, they were applauding her and lauding her. She is a black, fat cultural producer, whatever that is. And she's also a multidisciplinary artist and non-binary shapeshifter. That's how she calls herself a non-binary shapeshifter. Now, I don't know about you, but I thought shapeshifting was fiction. I thought it's like in movies, like in Harry Potter, where they can shapeshift. This is a real thing? Of course it's not. But she wants to pretend that it is. Maybe she wants to pretend that she could shapeshift out of that giant, horribly disgusting body into something better. Maybe that's why she calls herself a non-binary shapeshifter. Non-binary, if you don't know what that means, that's another word for saying I'm not a man, I'm not a woman, I don't like men, I don't like women, I don't identify as anything, I'm like all over the place, gay, trans, LGBTQI, ABCDEFG, I don't identify, don't call me a man or a woman, just call me non-binary, and now call me a shapeshifter. Yep. Oh, she's also a data futurist. Yeah, and she's the head of the Free Figure Revolution, which is a Southern Body Liberation Organization. Wait, what? Oh, and also in her bio, Hunter loves twerking and Uncrustables. What is an Uncrustable? Is that like you take the crust off your sandwich, off your peanut butter and jelly sandwich? I think she's eaten 10 and she removed the crust from all of them. Oh, and she writes children's books. Keep those books far away from your kids. Far, far away. As it probably says, this is Bobby. Bobby is white. Therefore, Bobby is an inhuman, racist devil. Yes, all skiing is racist, all snow is racist, all white people are racist, all Muppets are racist, and all math problems are racist. And you know who else is racist? I think this is our last one. Coca-Cola employees who now are being told by Coke, you gotta be less white. Look at this tweet we got. Look at this. Coca-Cola is forcing employees to complete online training telling them to be less white. Now, these are the images from a whistleblower. Look at this. Confronting racism, understanding what it means to be white, challenging what it means to be racist. So if you're white, you're racist. All right, next photo. To be less white is to be less oppressive, arrogant, certain, defensive, ignorant, humble, be more, you got to be more humble, listen, believe, break with apathy, break with white solidarity. So if you're white, you're oppressive and arrogant and blah, blah, blah. And in the U.S., other Western nations, whites are socialized to feel they are superior because they're white. Yeah, we feel superior. All right, next picture, last one. Try to be less white. That's from Coca-Cola. So remember Coca-Cola used to have those ads where they'd say, have a Coke and a smile? So I guess it should say, have a Coke and a white supremacist smile. Or the other one, Coke adds life. Coke adds white supremacist life, I guess. And remember, things are not always as they seem. See you tomorrow.